Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar, and actually welcome to the debut installment of Guardz MSP First webinar series. My name is Tal Eisner, and I'm the VP of Product Marketing at Guardz. This series is dedicated to addressing the unique challenges and concerns faced by managed service providers (MSPs). With a particular focus on cybersecurity, a topic that is more critical now, I believe, than ever. Today, it is my personal privilege and honor and fun, actually, to kick off this series with a distinguished guest. He likes being called distinguished. Uh, uh, Actually, this is my friend Bob Coppedge, the CEO of Simplex-IT. For those of you who do not know, Bob has 40 years of experience in the IT industry. He's really a renowned figure, known for his deep expertise and commitment to simplifying complex IT issues for small and medium businesses. He's founded Simplex-IT in 2007 and been a driving force in the IT world. He's also an accomplished author, having written 3 books, including a CEO Survival Guide to Information Technology. And the latest, I Don't Want Your Job, is Co-Manage IT Services the Right Fit for You. He's, of course, a regular speaker at various, if you guys have been visiting national and area events, including IT Nation and DataCon and others. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks. This guy sounds almost interesting. I'd like to meet him.
Yeah, you liked it? I was talking about you, by the way. I don't know if you know.
Okay. I must reach out. Now, the interesting thing is you point out, you say 40 years. It is actually closer to, I just realized I have to update that because it's closer to 40. I think it's 46 years now.
Yeah, but who's counting, you know?
Yeah, depressed people like me.
All right.
Yeah, no, this is fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So first of all, welcome and thank you for taking the time. We wanted to, we talked before, Bob, and we'll share with our audience that we wanted to focus today on a crucial topic, which is really how MSPs are helping their clients, in our case, especially small and medium businesses, balance between the need for security and the need for productivity. And this balance is really essential for businesses to thrive in today's landscape, and MSP really play a pivotal role in achieving it. So I think I want to start again because of your experience and everything that goes with it. If you can give us, a glimpse of your world, managing security for small and medium businesses, how hectic it really is, or how.
No, it's easy peasy. We just have lots of fun. We drink a lot of mimosas.
Yeah. I think I saw the movie. But how is it really? I mean, let's give a context to our audience. In this day and age where cybersecurity really became, or cyber threats actually became a severe threat to even society, not to speak of organizations and businesses all around the world. An MSP like you, who's responsible really to managing the security of these organizations, how does it really look from the inside?
So here's the challenge with that question. It is so easy for me to go, well, Tal, thank you very much for asking and having me on to this call. It is critical. Organizations like Simplex-IT must watch 24/7, blah, 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 which is absolutely true. But we've been saying this now for years. So let's assume that, yes, cybersecurity is critical. Cybersecurity is important. Cybersecurity is absolutely something that we, as an industry, and also just small, medium businesses in general, weren't paying enough attention to years ago. Absolutely, because like you just said, the bad guys out how to monetize it, and they found out how to create value by how they define value, whether it be they got people to pay ransomware, whether it be they got intellectual property, or they were able to whatever. They were able to find out how to make it pay. Really, about 8 or 10 years ago when ransomware first became an issue. Prior to that, managed service providers such as Simplex-IT or internal IT people, just IT in general, we were all about the latest whiz-bang technology. We were all about how to make you more productive. We were all about that sort of thing. And security, yeah, it's important, but yeah, we'll get to that. Now, over the past 5 years or so, really, organizations are finally waking up and saying, whether it be MSPs or their clients, the combination thereof, no, security now is important. We have to make sure we're secure. We have to make sure we're this, that, or the other thing. And it sometimes is difficult to scale that for smaller organizations and then medium organizations, and still hold on to that idea of we still have to be productive. And when you and I were talking, 3 weeks ago or so, that's kind of where our conversation led, because there are so many webinars out there. There's so many who are just saying cybersecurity is critical, or they're ignoring cybersecurity and they're just talking about what is the latest whiz-bang, virtual desktop cloud-based configurations or the like. But we don't talk enough about how do we balance. How do we make sure that the organization is still able to be productive,
Right.
and the MSP is still able to provide the security and maintain costs throughout the whole thing?
And that's really where we want to go. I mean,
Yeah.
and talking in slogans and not talking too high. I'm trying to really, understand that balance. What does that balance mean? I mean, organizations need to be productive, and they need to succeed, and they need to grow. And they also need, again, as you said, in today's, and that's stating the obvious, be secure. Why is there a tension between the two? Where is the tension lies in? I mean, what's really making this a dual, I would say, between the productivity and the need for security? Where is the objection here?
Well, and I think part of the objection is because it's still new to so many of us, and I include MSPs in that. MSPs prior to, again, we'll say 10 years ago, really weren't paying too much attention to security, except for you have firewalls, you have antivirus, yay, and we back up your server once in a while, so you're okay. Well, now all of a sudden, no, we've now got to take a look at what the threat actors are doing, how compromised credentials. You've got companies who are doing all sorts of cloud stuff, so the bad guys can go do cloud stuff. So it's become much more complicated for the managed service providers, and then to have to communicate that to the clients, who it was already overwhelmingly difficult to understand. And they were so used to our industry, and our industry still does this. We treat our clients like they are idiots. And we treat our clients as if we're just going to say, we're going to tell you what you need, and you're going to love us for providing it. And so much of the MSP marketing mantra has been, let me tell you how wonderful and cool I am.
I see.
And so you put all those together, and it creates a difficult conversation for all people involved. That's my opinion anyway.
And the role of managed security. I mean, how can provide a flexible approach? How can you guys do this, or how do you guys do it? Can you provide maybe an example? Of course, an anonymous one. You don't need to
Sure.
mention no companies, but or a specific example. But how can you give an example of how you do this balance, how you manage it? Again, providing the comprehensive security that an organization needs today on one hand, but also not compromising on the business efficiency.
Sure. So first of all, you get back to the roots of the managed service provider. At the end of the day, a managed service provider is valuable, or excuse me, is profitable and successful because we are able to provide a value to our clients so that they're able to do whatever their goods and services are better, more efficiently, more effectively, and more securely because of our relationship. If the client can't do what they do better and more securely because of our relationship, then we've got a problem. Okay. And we want to scale that. We want to scale that so we can do it for more clients, for more organizations, better and more effectively and more efficiently. And one of the best ways that we can do that is by being consistent. So, in other words, client A, and I'm going to simplify here because this is the only way I can understand this stuff. So, client A, client B, client C are roughly going to get the same security structure that we offer to each of our clients, where the only differences are going to be because of their organizational needs, not budget, not flavors, not whatever. That way, my team, in terms of supporting and managing it, can be more effective because it's the same opportunity, or it's the same configuration for each one of them. And I think one of the things then that happens on our part is when we communicate to clients, we don't communicate in terms of you're going to need product A, you're going to need product B, you're going to need product C. No, we communicate, here's the layers of security that we're going to provide you that we think are appropriate. We are more than willing to have a conversation explaining them to you. We love these conversations, explaining why these different layers are appropriate for your organization, but we're not going to peel them away.
Speaking about layers of security, I know that it has been like a best common knowledge, I would say, or common belief, I would even say, that the more security you put on a client, the more point products and point solutions you put, the better security you're getting. Would you consider this statement true, false, a legend, a myth, or a disaster?
Can I say all of the above?
I have my own take, but we'll give you to answer yours.
To me, it's all of the above. It all gets down to if somebody gave me a list of ingredients that go into an award-winning cake, that does not mean I'm going to make an award-winning cake. Far from it. I'm going to make an absolute chaotic mess. It's going to be horrible. Flames may be involved. And don't eat whatever comes out of this process because I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to bake. So if we take all of these tools and we essentially throw them in poorly managed, poorly maintained, implemented, configured, and poorly communicated to the client, it's going to be a disaster. If we're able to take, as some MSPs are, they're able to take disparate products from different companies, but they know how to make them work, then they can be successful. If they find just a couple of partners to do it and they work well with those partners for a standard configuration, that's going to work well. So it's one of those where, in my opinion, there is no single strategy that is going to be guaranteeing you success or failure. But it gets down to the evaluating your own team. So I'm evaluating who we are and what level of comfort I have in terms of bringing our team to be the specific managers, champions, experts on the tools versus partnering with the third parties to provide those. As long as I've got a certain amount of sanity into how I'm doing it, then I'm okay with it. And it may sound like I'm avoiding the question, but I'm not. I'm trying not to. It gets down to how you implement the tools is often as important as the tools themselves. Actually, is more often important than the tools themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. It does make sense. It does make sense, and it's more than makes sense because
yes.
No, because I'm trying to think about if you are a small organization or let's say a small, medium-sized organization, and you put layers and layers of security. Layers of security will generate more information, more alerts, more reactions that will be needed from someone to answer those alerts, and those people would be you, well, maybe not you specifically, but
No,
you
not
and
you. No, 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 no. We don't do
you
that.
and yours. Let's call it you and yours. But someone will have to answer to these alerts, and of course, every a common belief is that alert fatigue is
Absolutely.
one is one of the biggest challenges that the security investigator knows. I know from my experience, both working with Guardz clients and being with my past as an investigator in security in different security organizations. In the end of the day, or actually in the beginning of the day, you sit in front of a screen and you need to answer those lines that are reflecting on the screen and answer them. And somebody needs to do that and needs to do it efficiently enough in order not to miss critical information. Because in this day and age, missing a critical information might cost a lot to an organization. And I'm not just talking about finance, I'm talking about sometimes more severe things like that. So alert fatigue is also an issue that needs answering.
Well, it's fatigue in general because there's alert fatigue. There's also help desk fatigue. There's whatever you call it. But at the end of the day, um, as an MSP, we've only got and we've got under 20, we've got about 18 or so employees here. So we only have so much resource that we can apply that are going to be directly aimed at our clients, whether that be monitoring alerts, monitoring tools, monitoring tickets, monitoring performance metrics, or dealing with the client themselves. So the question becomes one from our standpoint of where are we going to get the best bang for the buck out of our employees? And specifically, we are the ones talking to them directly. So on the one hand, you can sit back and go, well, gee whiz, they're working for me anyway. I'll go have them monitor the alerts. And absolutely, somebody needs to. But the more they just simply monitor the alert and go meaningful, not meaningful, not meaningful, not meaningful, not meaningful, not meaningful, not meaningful, whether they be a security alert, whether they be a performance alert, whether it be a licensing alert, whether it be whatever, the more that I have them doing that, the less they can actually be engaging with the client and making sure that the client is using these tools and resources to the most effective end to what they're trying to do. And that's how I want to differentiate my company is I want my technicians to be interested in what the client is actually trying to do for their clients and for their employees. So any way I can use, whether I can use automation of our existing tools, whether I can use partnerships, whether I can do scripting, whatever we can do that can get rid of you're having my people do mundane products or mundane processes. How can I eliminate that so that we can really focus on client interaction? To give an example, had a conversation with a client last week, and this was a co-managed client. So I was talking to the IT director, and we were just talking about business continuity. And we were talking about how to make sure that there's a plan in place for this, that, or the other thing. And they are dealing with they're in the transportation industry, and they are dealing with a lot of clients on their end. It's a very cutthroat segment of the business that they're in. And one of the questions I asked is, have you ever had a client of yours who has been hit by ransomware? And they said, oh, yeah. I said, so what did you do for them? And they said, oh, we were able to make sure that the product they were ordering from us got delivered on time, this, that, or the other thing. I said, so how hard would it be for you to actually create a checklist for their clients of if their clients ever got hit with ransomware or some other cybersecurity emergency, here's what you can do for them. So that they actually had to, and they said, oh, that'd be easy. And I said, so I'll bet none of your competition is doing that. And then the light went off on them, like, wow, that would really be a differentiator. So for us to have those conversations where we can talk to our clients and say, do this for your clients, this is going to make you sound better, make you look different. That's where we really can help our clients and differentiate ourselves from other MSPs.
So before we get a little bit or touch a little bit about some practical tips that we can give MSPs that are watching us in terms of building a security first culture and being security focused. Uh, what would you say? You've mentioned ransomware a few times, and I was wondering, from your experience and exposure to small and medium businesses in recent years, what would you say the most burning topics or burning cyber trends that you see that are hurting those organizations more than before?
So the one I think that's hurting them more is this thinking that cybersecurity is a one and done thing, meaning that whatever your cybersecurity solution is in 2024, that'll do in 2025, that'll do in 2026, and the fact is it won't.
Yeah.
Every year there are new threats, there are new opportunities, risks, whatever new threats that bad actors are doing. And so one of the questions that I always ask, and I'll ask potential clients this, I'll ask MSPs this, so on and so forth, is what are you doing different today than that you weren't doing 2 years ago from a security standpoint? And if the answer is nothing, that's alarming. Because the maturation and again, I've said this before, the bad guys are entrepreneurs more than anything else.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest declaration I can come up with as far as that whole process goes. So that it is an infinite game. It is nonstop. There is nothing threatening their business model. They're not going away anytime soon.
They're being successful more than ever.
Yeah, exactly. And often, if not always, operating from companies, or excuse me, from countries that either turn a blind eye to them or fully welcome them and love what they're doing. So it's hard to really find ways to truly compromise the business. So that's the one thing.
Specific trends in cyber, I mean, specific attacks or specific attacks on specific surfaces, what's more vulnerable these days? Can you pinpoint something, or don't you see this?
The favorite and the easiest is still credential theft. I mean, that's essentially where the bad guys are 100% going after, because it's easy pickings.
Yeah.
You've just got way too many people who are, we are a click driven society. And where social media is all about going after the attention of the end user. And so the bad guys are climbing onto that and doing the exact same thing. And it is a combination of the end user has to be educated and informed to not click on those things, to not share that information, but also the tools that we use have to also monitor that behavior, monitor what action, both the behavior of the end user and the behavior of the service that's being engaged through this, and so on and so forth. So it gets back to that whole, we need to have layers, because every one of these layers can be directly attacked by the bad guys, and every one at one of these layers is not 100% successfully defended.
Our platform in Guardz also analyzes and monitors the dark web, and the things that we see that are being that you can find in the dark web. In terms of you mentioned credential theft. It's really incredible to see the amount of credentials that are out there after being leaked or stolen or anything of that sort. And this brings me to the last topic that I want to touch with you. Is you mentioned credential theft. Credential theft is unfortunately many times a result of what's the word I'm looking for here? A user behavior.
Right.
It's all about the users. And so I'm trying to figure out if we can give some, practical small tips to our MSPs to give their clients to create and generate that security first culture, awareness, anything about training of users, anything on that area that you can, from your vast experience, give as a tip or tips?
Sure. And it's one of those where here's my first tip to the MSP. You can't change it. You cannot engage your client's employees to suddenly become security conscious. You do not have that kind of pull, and you don't have that kind of responsibility. What you are responsible for is you are responsible for communicating what the risks are to the organization, to the client management. And to the people who say, yeah, we're too small, we're not going to be hacked, my response has always been, Netflix knows what you watch, Facebook knows what you do, Google knows what you search, HBO knows what you watch, so on and so forth. All of these organizations, and Amazon knows what you buy. All of these organizations have made a tremendous amount of money off the little guy by analyzing and taking advantage of what they do and engaging them. And the bad guys are no different. So they're absolutely going to do that. I forget what the number is, but there's a ridiculous number of millions of dollars that have been garnered in terms of damages and the like through romance scams, which I find amazing. So you've got to get management to buy into it. Thankfully, insurance is on your side. Cyber insurance, whether you partner with someone, you talk about it, whatever, cyber insurance is becoming more and more a game changer to get organizations to recognize the fact that they need to take it seriously. But you also want to make it so that it is not overly complex, so that we use the cybersecurity training. There are a number of tools out there. They're not horribly expensive, and they're not horribly difficult for either the management of the organization, the client management, or their employees to take and to continue using. I strongly recommend that you do not make this your problem, because then you will be blamed by nobody taking it. But their HR department, the client HR, can be responsible for managing and maintaining most of these tools, and to basically buy into the fact that the training and the phishing attacks and all of that kind of simulated phishing attacks can be followed up on. But all you can do is lead them to water. All you can do is to show, hey, this is serious. This is why it's serious to organizations such as yours, and this is why we are bringing the solution. It is part of our monthly fee. It is not negotiable. It is part. People talk about when we bring our goods and services, and we say, here's all of the layers of security, and they say, well, we're not sure we need that. We go, well, thanks for the money, because it's included.
Cyber insurance is a very critical topic. Maybe in the next webinar, we're going to discuss this. I think this is a growing concern. There was a notable Warren Buffett comment about this issue, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, about his concern about the non existing or not sufficient organizations that are being insured and are not exactly, as you say, realizing how severe this is and how critical this is. And it's like, are you waiting to get hurt and then you're going to secure yourself, or are you going to do it beforehand? So that's a very, very critical topic, and I believe much more will be discussed on this topic in coming future.
And cyber insurance is absolutely the MSP's friend when it comes time to discuss security, because you can usually use I'm not saying it, they're saying it. That you have to have this in place, so it's not you just trying to make more money.
Right. Bob, I would like to thank you for joining me. It's been fun and insightful, and I really acknowledge and really cherish the experience that you hold and share. And I think it's very, very important to share it. And it was at least insightful and interesting for me. I hope it was for our audience also.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was. We should do this much more often.
I'm open.
Thank you very much. And thank you to our viewers and to our audience and everyone that watched. Thank you very much.
Cool. Catch y'all later.
Peace. Bye.